Welcome to the Harpreet Singh Show. I'm your host Harpreet Singh from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. In today's program, we are going to talk to a very interesting person. He's 69 years young and he has never taken any medicine and he has been disease free. What is the secret to his healthy life? How does he keep himself fit? So we'll talk on all these details. Let's welcome Richard Lehwald from Delta, BC. Richard, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me with you, and I'm glad to share my journey that's been kind of ongoing for pretty well 50 years on a
Wow.
health journey. Um, basically at the age of 20, I made some serious commitments that lifestyle can form us and provide us with a very good, healthy journey.
Mm-hmm.
And my eyes were opened. As in my teenage years, we typically eat a lot of junk. So I referred I was a junk food junkie, and I did have some, because of doing what I was doing, not knowing really more than anything else. I had some serious skin issues, and when looking for advice from the medical system, they didn't really have no answers. So just simply said your age, and they didn't even relate it to diet. So, anyways, so I got no answers, and I happened to one day step into a health food store and talk to a very interesting guy, and he told me about healthy foods, natural foods, really more than anything else, and introduced me to some doctors that were on the circuit. Dr. Bernard Jensen, he was a chiropractor, but very much into nutrition. He had a line of products as well, and he had a farming set up in California. And then there was also Dr. Christopher, who was an herbalist. So that just opened up a whole new window into my life. And wow, here we have, um, the medicine is that's provided. So then, you relate it to what was said by Hippocrates as well. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. So that's a very critical decision to have and let's face it, we are part of nature and we are connected to nature, but what has happened is we've been disconnected to nature because we've been forced to become consumers. And of course, much of the stuff that you see on the shelves today is all processed. And so nature is basically being taken out of that, which is unfortunate. So much of it becomes now dead foods. And, the principles of life giving a life. And so, when I started to discover that, soon some of my, there might not be serious challenges were changed. But I believe that an unhealthy lifestyle and an unhealthy diet continued for your life. Basically, the more you stay on it, you put all these items that are dead, and it takes energy. So
Right.
we are energetic beings.
See,
And
what you have said, Richard, is really important. 50 years ago,
right.
you realized that you are living a wrong path and you changed your thinking and you started adopting those things which have kept you disease free till now. So that's a really interesting story, like when you talk about 50 years ago and now, things have completely
Yes.
changed now. At that time, it wasn't a major crisis, but right today, every human being is suffering from something or the other. Diseases which you have unheard of have come to the forefront, and everybody is facing some crisis or the obesity is a major challenge, cancer is a major challenge, diabetes is a major challenge. So when you talk about that what we are eating is dead, what do you mean by that, and how you have brought those things into your life which have kept you disease free?
Well, okay, so I really come from an aspect that is the foundation. Everything is energy. So when you take, for example, living plant foods, and the closer we live to the land, the closer we live to things that are fresh. Okay, when we harvest these things fresh, there's energy in it. So it's just like when you're eating foods that are energetic, they're nutritious, it feeds us. It keeps us alive. It's just like, in a car, you got to put fuel in there. Well, our bodies require fuel that is composed of, proteins and some levels of carbs and certain good fats and all that, because this is what builds cells and this is what gives us energy and maintains us. And so when we overcook perhaps, And then, of course, when people preserve a lot of things, so, all your canned and packaged stuff, got to have preservatives in there. And generally, this comes from a chemicalized form. And chemicals are substances that our bodies don't necessarily agree with in most cases. And so they make our digestive processes more difficult. And then the cells store more toxins. And all these things will really slow down the, the healing, repairing, rejuvenating capacity of the body, right? We are made out of something like between 50 and 100 trillion cells and 100,000 processes per second. So if we were to take, for example, you got a gasoline car, what would happen if you put diesel in it? The car won't drive very long and it will bog down. Or if you put a gas into a diesel car, now you'll blow up that diesel engine. You have some serious consequences. So from a fuel aspect, that's the way it is. With the body, our bodies are really quite amazing, and they can tolerate a lot. But just like anything else, we need to do proper maintenance to it. And so abusing our bodies or not properly using for many, many years can have repercussions. And of course, then we have the disease forms under disease labels, okay? But look at that from the word disease. So understanding language properly, the word dis-ease, you're at ease, you're in balance. Disease, you're simply out of balance, okay? So, and that can come with when you're going into the medical system, they'll have to put labels on it. And then the labels are there to determine the types of medications and processes, from tests to maybe surgical procedures that they have to utilize to kind of keep you going. Okay, so we're dealing with a lot of Band-Aid treatments that way, rather than, I always tell people like this, when you cut your hair, you cut your nail, you cut your skin. These are simple three examples, but your hair grows back, your nails grow back, your skin will also heal and regrow new skin. So our cells are programmed to do these things. But it's just like when you're building things, let's say you build a home or any structure, if you do not build it with quality materials, you get an inferior structure and it will soon break apart. It's like that with our bodies.
Right.
The better, the more, and I'm looking at it and always using the word holistic, right? It's about the whole body, okay? And
so Richard, when you talk about
yes.
the holistic approach, basically we'll go for a break, come back and learn from you as to what needs to be incorporated in our eating habits, what needs to be the changes that we need to bring in our lifestyle. What you have brought, we would like to share this wisdom with our viewers today. So let's go for a break. We'll be shortly back and continue with our discussion.
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਰਿਚਮੰਡ ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
ਛੋਟੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟਸ ਤੱਕ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰਨ ਲਈ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹਨ ਜੇਰੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਵਾਲੇ। ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨਲ ਕੰਟੈਂਪਰੇਰੀ ਜਾਰਜੀਅਨ ਮਾਡਰਨ ਲੁੱਕ ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਜੇਰੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਨੂੰ, ਜੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਾਬਲ ਸਟਾਫ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜ ਕੇ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਐਸਟੀਮੇਟ ਦੇਣਗੇ। ਸਟੋਨ ਟਾਈਲਸ, ਅਰਬਨ ਸਟੋਨ, ਮੋਲਡਿੰਗਸ, ਐਕਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼, ਪਿਲਰਸ ਆਦਿ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਸਟਾਲ ਕਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਮਹਾਰਤ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹਨ। 25 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਵਾਰੰਟੀ, ਮੇਨਟੇਨੈਂਸ ਫ੍ਰੀ, ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਅਪਰੂਵਡ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਵੇਖੋ। ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 6046149231 ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ यूनिट नंबर 500, 1515 Broadway Street, Port Coquitlam. Once again, welcome back to the program. Today's program has been brought to you with the support of Day-to-Day Wholesale Cash and Carry. This is the biggest store of South Asian grocery in BC, where you can purchase groceries, party wear, kitchenware, homeware, and at wholesale prices. They have more than 5,000 products which are displayed on their shelves, and for best prices, unique grocery buying experience, and high quality products, come to day wholesale cash and carry at 7843 128th Street, Surrey. Phone number is 604 503 8787. Our next sponsor is AMC Insurance. If you're looking for home, auto, travel, business, life, or recreational insurance, you can depend upon their 9 branches which are in the lower mainland and serve you 7 days a week from 8:30 a.m. onwards till 9 p.m. Phone number is 604 507 6666. 604 507 6666. My guest today is Richard Lehwald, and we are talking about the holistic approach to health. This gentleman has been disease free for the past 50 years and he has not taken any medicine. So, Richard, you were talking about the mind, body, soul concept, the holistic approach, what one should adopt. But you deal with a lot of patients. You have your own clinic where you treat patients also. Tell us, what lifestyle changes do you think which we need to bring, and what are the major diseases which you are finding are engulfing the people these days?
Well, of course, the physical body is the most outward expression of what goes on. But the origins of these things can be in many different layers. But as they manifest, there's always a lot to do again with the whole overall lifestyle. So if we consider what's the first thing that all our cells in the body need is oxygen. And a simple relation to that would be, it's known that brain cells require 25 to 30% of all the oxygen in the body. And the proof of the pudding for that is if a person happens to choke on something, or is being choked by somebody, or is drowning, you get anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes that your brain cells become impaired and perhaps die. And so a lot of people end up in drowning accidents and say they don't live anymore. If they do, they're sort of comatose and stay in that state because the brain cells are being deprived of oxygen. But every cell in the body is required to have oxygen. Doesn't matter if it's in your toe. And we know that when people have circulation issues, so blood circulation is the key way by which oxygen is going to get there.
Right. So Richard, the oxygen that we consume from nature, is it not enough? And when you talk about the blood circulation, how does that get stopped and the cells do not get the required oxygen?
Okay. Well, number one is good breathing. So, it's a lung function. That's how you intake the oxygen into the body. So your lungs are very, very important. So, breathing exercises or anything, or not forgetting to breathe, because a lot of people become shallow breathers simply because of the inactive lifestyle. So we need to move. We need to be, we automatically do the breathing, but by sitting, by laying in bed for long periods of times, people's breathing rates will decline. And so then therefore your oxygen intake goes down. Now, of course, now we have this whole situation that the pathway for the oxygen to get to the cells is into the circulation. So how many people today do not have issues with the circulation issues? Now, arteries get plugged and so on. And it's because also your bloodstream is the highway by which it delivers oxygen, nutrients, all the good things that blood needs to supply to the cells, so that cells can do what? Heal, repair, rejuvenate.
Right.
Okay, so it's the way that it's going to get there into each area. And so here comes the component then. It's if we eat refined foods, oil that is being hydrogenated, then they create all kinds of buildups. If you're not properly digesting proteins, of all forms, and your digestive system is also compromised, which it is for the majority of people. When I check it out, it's always, everyone seems to have issues in the gut or digestive system. And so when you're not properly breaking down foods, so for example, all cells are built from proteins, and proteins you can get from plant-based, doesn't have to be meat, but anyways, there's protein everywhere. But the whole issue then gets, you are what you eat. So the quality of food that you put into your body is just like the quality of fuel. You describe gas, diesel in the proper car. But what you digest or how you digest, what gets absorbed, and then what the cells can utilize. So you take from the beginning through the digestion, then the bloodstream delivers all the components, and then the cells, if the cells become very toxic, because metabolic functions, just like when you have your car running, if you don't have electric car but a gasoline or diesel car, what happens? You got a lot of, if you were to get by the tailpipe, you'd smell certain things, and if you were to breathe too much of that, you get carbon monoxide, and that will kill you. Okay, so that's kind of like the waste product from the combustion process.
Right. So
likewise, in our cells, in our body,
yeah,
we have the same thing. Our cells are doing these actions, okay, because within the cells is something called mitochondria, and the mitochondria are just like engines of the cells, right? So, anyways.
So what suggestions would you give for keeping the blood flowing so that it remains, the oxygen is able to reach the cells and the body remains healthy?
Okay, the number one thing is blood is more than 90% water. So oxygen is the first thing. Number two is water. Right. And a lot of people, again, they drink maybe a lot of other things, perhaps say pops and whatever else, but just not enough plain water.
So how much water would you recommend to a normal person in a day?
Well, it's been understood, and I would highly recommend half your body weight in ounces. So if we're looking at, a pound configuration, if you're 100 ounces of water, roughly 10 glasses, 10 glasses of water should be okay.
Right. Now, here is another issue. When we talk about water also, it is said that water is impure. We are very lucky to live in Canada to have the best water of the world, but still it is said that this water is also not good. What would you say about this?
Well, here's the thing. Natural water, if it comes from, let's say, from a well, from the earth, it's also energized. It's got the earth energies within that. Okay, so water, as soon as it gets piped into our homes, once you force it through 300 feet of piping, and then there's pumps and everything else, that takes, number one, takes the energy out of the water. So we could help. There's ways and means that we can restructure it. But because then the water gets in there, and when water doesn't properly, flow and picks up all the energies from nature, like it would in a river, where it picks up the energy from the earth, from the banks, from the trees, from the sun, from the air. So when that's all removed, then it also becomes out of balance. And of course, they have to do some level of water treatment. And it seems typically the minimal that what people are doing in the municipalities is chlorine. And that's what we have in the Greater Vancouver area, certainly most of BC. Right. In some areas, they add things like fluoride. Thank goodness we don't have it here. But when you're looking at these levels of chemicals in it, why do they put it in there? It's to keep the water bacteria free. Right. Okay, so and then they have to do it in a certain times of the year. You can probably smell higher levels of chlorine out there. Take a shower then you'll notice that if you have run into hot water, there is chlorine fumes coming from that. And so chlorine, if you look at the material safety data sheet, it says that it's actually toxic. Okay, well, we're just dripping it into our body, but overall, we're like a sponge, we accumulate in that. So I would say...
So what is the alternative for this then again? Because ultimately, where to get that kind of water which can be beneficial to us, and what other changes we need to bring in our diet also so that we remain healthy. It's time for a break. Let's go for a break because time is running absolutely fast and there is so much wisdom which we want to extract from you. So let's go for a break. We'll be shortly back and continue with the discussion.
ਭਾਰਤ ਪੈਸੇ ਭੇਜਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਫੋਰੈਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਤਸੱਲੀ ਬਖਸ਼ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰੇਟ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਗਾਰੰਟੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 6043491313 ਉੱਤੇ।
ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਵੇਂ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਸਟੋਵ, ਓਵਨ, ਫ੍ਰਿਜ, ਵਾਸ਼ਰ ਡਰਾਇਰ, ਮਾਈਕ੍ਰੋਵੇਵ, ਫ੍ਰੀਜ਼ਰਸ ਜਾਂ ਡਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ਼ਰ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਤੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ 3 ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚਸ ਸਰੀ, ਐਬਟਸਫੋਰਡ ਤੇ ਚਿਲਵੈਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਨ। ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ। ਇਹ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਤੇ ਇੰਸਟਾਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪੈਕੇजेस ਫॉर ਬਿਲਡਰਸ ਐਂਡ ਹੋਮ ਓਨਰਸ। ਕਾਲ 6045904140 604 590 4140।
ਕੁਦਰਤ ਦੇ ਸੌਮਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਆਯੁਰਵੇਦਾ ਰਾਹੀਂ 5000 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਏ ਗਏ ਹੈਲਥ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅਪਰੂਵਡ 100% ਸ਼ੁੱਧ ਆਯੁਰਵੈਦਿਕ ਡਾਇਟਰੀ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਲਾਭ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ, ਐਂਗਜ਼ਾਇਟੀ, ਇਨਸੋਮਨੀਆ, ਬਲੱਡ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ, ਕਿਡਨੀ, ਬਲੈਡਰ, ਹਾਜ਼ਮਾ, ਆਈਸਾਈਟ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਆਰਗੈਨਿਕ ਇਲਾਜ, ਜੋੜਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਦਰਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਸਰੀਰਕ ਮਸਾਜ ਲਈ ਕਈ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਆਯੁਰਵੈਦਿਕ ਤੇਲ ਵੀ ਉਪਲਬਧ ਹਨ। ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ 604 628 2003।
Today's program has been brought to you with the support of Agnihotri Immigration Consulting. If you're looking for temporary status, you want to know about PR, you're new to Canada, you're an international student, you want to ask about citizenship, you want to hire foreign workers, express entry, or you want to sponsor parents or grandparents, then you can depend upon the honest and reliable information of Neera Agnihotri, who has been working as a certified immigration consultant since 2006. For more information, call 604-597-2284. Let's get back to Richard Lehwald and continue with our discussion. So Richard, before the break, like you mentioned, that the water also that we are drinking has chlorine in it, which is not good for us. So what is the substitute? And also, because I have about 8 minutes left, I would like to talk to you in details about water in one separate program. So just briefly as to what would you recommend, and also what lifestyle changes apart from what you have mentioned so far and the diet we need to incorporate or leave so that we can remain healthy.
Okay, so I would say the minimal thing that anybody should do in their home with the water is put at least a water filter on there to remove the chlorine when you're drinking it, and a shower filter perhaps too, because you're absorbing it through the skin. The skin is one of your largest organs out there. So yeah, moving along to, a lot of people say, well, what to eat? Well, like I say, we should eat. For me, I eat out of all the food groups, but we should definitely have a lot of plant-based foods coming into our body. So, fruits and vegetables, and, there's a lot of choice there. Nuts and seeds are wonderful, but you got to make sure that you're able to digest it. So, like, for example, if people do eat meat can take anywhere from 4 to 5 hours to break down. Okay, and if people got weak digestive systems, then they're not going to get the optimal benefit from eating meat. So meat, chicken, fish, or red meat. This is all food, and depending on where you live and how you've been brought up, but again, it gets all down to the digestive system where people have a lot of issues. So, good fats as well. Again, a lot of people use a lot of oils, and I see because of, I guess, a lack of knowledge, but a lot of people use canola oils, and honestly, canola oil is just not a healthy oil. It's not something that can clog your arteries. Okay, so get down to good healthy oils. You're better off to using your ghee, coconut oil, and anyways, you can, because they can withstand higher temperatures as well. If you use some of the other vegetable oils, such as, let's say, olive oil, use a good virgin olive oil, but you should never. A lot of your vegetable oils are not meant to be heated, or cooked with, because the low flash points, they'll break down at, say, 180 degrees Fahrenheit, which then, so this is where you destroy the oils, and now they become your poison. Okay, so it's a simple thing there, but so many people get it wrong. So we need healthy fats. Okay?
Right. So you are well aware with the South Asian, and especially the Indo-Canadian eating habits, where a lot of milk is consumed, pakoras and samosas, and a lot of things are fried. White flour is used, sugar is used excessively in sweets. What would you like to recommend to the South Asian people? What changes they need to bring in their lifestyle and diet?
Well, here's the thing, right? Because they're very high on the carb scale, so a lot of Punjabi East Indian foods are often very overcooked, tasty but overcooked. Okay. So again, you destroy the life by overheating it and so on. Microwaving actually destroys things worse. But anyways, so eat always a level of fresh, okay, like in salads and so on. Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables,